Nothing says spring more than flowers blooming, chicks hatching, and lambs being born. But hold up, it's a frozen wasteland right now. Let's rewind that. We still have several months of winter left, but for those of you in the warmer regions of the globe, it's lambing time. Maybe you did some research on the best breeds for your backyard flock. Maybe it's more impulsive and you saw that cute fluffy lamb at the swap meet, or a friend called about some lambs that they had that need to be bottle fed and they need some help. For the first time sheep owner, the process can be a bit daunting. Today we're going to take you through the journey of getting your first lambs. Prior to bringing your lamb home, it's time to start thinking about the purpose of the lamb in your family and homestead. Will it be for wool? Is it going to be a strictly pet-only lamb, just grazing on your backyard lawn, or just to keep a kind of pastoral setting? Will you be using its wool? Do you want next to skin softness, or do you prefer something a little bit more rugged and durable for carpets or coats? Are you potentially milking the lamb as it gets older? If you're going to be using this lamb as a producer of milk or sheep meat, do you have a plan in place for how to house and care for a ram? Rams have a very particular nuanced method of care that not all beginner shepherds are ready to handle. Sheep also live for 10 years or longer. So this is potentially a long-term commitment. So let's go ahead and discuss shelter, fencing, food, and water. You'll need to make sure that your lamb has everything it needs to thrive. Even bottle-fed lambs benefit from having an exposure to hay, pellets, and fresh water. With housing, there's a lot of options there when it comes to sheep on what you can do. From a simple 3-sided shelter, a dog glue, or anything more creative. Some people like to keep their bottle-fed lambs indoors or in a garage, just so that it's more convenient for those late-night bottle feeds. Now on to lamb proofing. Nothing says babies than getting into trouble. One of the big things with hazards with lambs is you just never know what kind of accidents they can get into. Don't forget to lamb proof every one of your structures. Water buckets need to be high enough so the lambs cannot fall in. Or if you have access to a pond or any sort of still water, it's important to secure these things so that the lambs don't accidentally fall into it and then drown. Loose string and wires, or anything they can get caught in, introduces a tangling or strangulation hazard. Don't forget to introduce your lambs under monitoration to your electric fencing. So that in case they get tangled into it, you'll be there to be able to turn off that power and get them untangled before they accidentally strangle themselves. Hay bales are also a hazard for sheep. Round bales have the potential of rolling on or falling on top of a lamb, especially as they eat through the center or pick their favorite parts and then they'll collapse onto them. This isn't an exhaustive list, but if you've had some experience with lambs or baby proofing, comment below some things that I might have overlooked. So now we have our setup secure. Let's go on to the next step, looking for a healthy lamb. This in itself can be a process. It helps to look up a breeder if you know a specific breed that you're checking out. Visit the farm, check out the health and temperament of their flock. This can give you an idea or a window into what your lamb will end up developing into as an adult. If you want to get a good deal, sometimes it works really well when you contact the breeder. There's livestock shares. I haven't done this, but one person I was speaking to at a livestock show, he lives in the city and his son really wants lambs, but they live in an apartment. And as much as they want a lamb, they cannot keep one inside their apartment. So as much as they want that country lifestyle, so what they ended up doing was doing a livestock share with a breeder who shows their sheep. And so what he does is come by on the weekends, just like with someone who might have a horse boarding. I've done livestock boarding as well as a person who had to board their animals while I was moving, as well as boarding livestock from other people whom I've had a good relationship with. And that's the thing, is building that relationship with the breeder It's amazing. Like, people love, especially as a breeder, you love sheep, and just getting people interested in sheep as well. I mean, it's a passion. And if other people share the passion, it's amazing, and it just brings joy to the breeder. And so what you want to do is create that relationship with that breeder. And a lot of the show, go to the livestock shows and talk to these breeders. This one was particularly unique, where she had a setup specifically for people who lived in urban areas, so they can have the joys of raising sheep and becoming a shepherd, but without having the property. They would take turns taking care of the animals, so the breeder gets a break, and then the family gets to take care of the lambs and get to experience showing lambs, and it's just a win-win for everyone involved. So that's another alternative for people who have city lifestyle or urban lifestyle and really want to have that country experience, but just for any reason cannot buy a lamb or have a lamb on their property at the time. Another unexpected place to go and find a lamb for sale. Generally, they don't have them for sale at the things, but livestock shows. It's a great way to get to know the breeder, spot a bunch in one spot, get to see them in person. And sometimes they'll have bottle babies there, or lambs that are weaned. They're at the show. Also, I've had luck reaching out to dairies. One of the benefits too is they love showing you their facilities. I used to work at a livestock auction, and they can be a little iffy when it comes to buying lambs. It really helps to get the guidance of someone who works there, so don't hesitate to ask someone for some help. So on to the standard operating procedures of getting your lamb. I've noticed different regions have different norms in terms of standard operating procedures, so I'm going to try to keep this in mind while discussing this in regards to what form of transport do they prefer picked up. Do they ship? Do they have them mailed to you via air flight, which is interesting in itself? Or in terms of pickup, what kind of cars do they prefer to have their livestock picked up in? And yeah, that is a thing. Some breeders won't sell a single lamb to a homestead, especially one that lacks any animals. Other breeders don't like sheep mixing with goats or horses. So it's really important to get to know the seller and see if your values align well with each other. A lot of breeders can't wait to sell their ram lambs, but as a new shepherd, I do not recommend purchasing a ram lamb. Ram care is a bit nuanced, especially with the hormones. I'll go into that with a whole nother video later dedicated to rams. So if you aren't planning on breeding, I recommend instead an ewe or a wether. Ewes are very sweet, depending on breeding, of course. And with a neutered male or a wether, you don't have the hormones that even ewes sometimes go through. Some breeders are particular in their method of transport, such as in the southeast. No one really bats an eye when you drive down the road with a goat in your lap or truck or SUV. In other regions, they may consider that blasphemy and require specific trailers for pickup. This is where interviewing your breeder really helps. For the majority of situations, an SUV, a hatchback, a truck, or van work really well, especially with lambs or picking up 1 to 2 sheep. A large dog crate loaded with straw or towels, if you don't mind washing, will soak up all that urine during transport, and they will urinate a lot. Even those little lambs, it's amazing how much they can fit in that bladder. You may find it helpful if you don't have a hard washable truck bed to line your car with a tarp. That will really keep the poopies and the urine from soaking into your seats and the floor of your car. If you are picking up a bottle baby, it helps to have a bottle with you to keep them warm during the drive and stay hydrated. A larger weaned lamb might appreciate some hay, not straw, or some grain to nibble on. It's important to get to know your breeder, how they're feeding, what is their feeding regimen, are the lambs eating or nibbling, whatnot. It helps the lambs acclimate if you bring some snacks that they're already accustomed to, so they don't get so stressed during travel. If you end up picking up a registerable lamb, the breeder should have the majority of the paperwork filled out for you, their information. If not, you can fill it out at pickup. Depending on the type of registry, you may need receipts, as well as vet work where applicable. Don't forget to ask the breeder if they're up to date on their shots and worming. If you're buying through an auction house, it's best to assume that they didn't get their shots or a wormer. If you're driving for several hours and you're planning on stopping along the way, it's important to make sure that your lamb is secure so that if your door opens or you open your trunk of your car, that your lamb won't accidentally bolt or escape into some dangerous situation. So it's important to secure your sheep. I've heard some people have problems with their horned lambs when they picked up a weaned one, where they ended up having the lamb panic during their drive and actually jump up and crack their windshield of the back of their car. So that's just something to keep in mind of keeping your lambs calm and making sure that they're secure and safe, as well as you are secure and safe. Not everyone has the privilege of having a livestock vet that specializes in sheep or goats and the nuances of those specific species. Some people have had some luck going to a dog vet, but it's really important. As one of my previous vets had said before he retired, he only had literally a 2-week course on sheep medicine. So sometimes it can be difficult to find a vet who's willing to work on small livestock. Some people have luck utilizing a large animal vet, a large livestock vet, a country vet, maybe even a dog vet in a pinch. It can be very trialsome in itself to get a vet. So the best thing to do really is to self-educate. And that's one of the trials and tribulations of owning a sheep or getting a lamb, is these situations do occur and things do end up happening. So it's important to be well informed and well educated on how to protect your lamb and ensure that it has the best health and best opportunities. Prevention is going to be the key in keeping your animal healthy and live a really long life. Now that you purchased your lamb, congratulations! Found your new perfect lamb. But the fun is just beginning. For weaned lambs, more often than not, they will be wild or skittish, so the bonding will look a little bit different than with your bottle lamb. It's important to go slow and develop that trust in your lamb so it learns that you are that fun, weird-looking sheep buddy it never knew it loved so much. And there you have it. Get ready for your new adventure full of joy, love, and a lot of adorable bleats. Thank you for joining me and welcome to the flock. Can't wait to see you on your next sheep adventure.